So today on the Beam channel, I want to talk about architecture, imperfect architectures. When you're building a system, you would like, of course, the architecture to be something that you can run and maintain for many years to come, and that's important. But you also are left with the fact that as you're building it, you have imperfect knowledge. You're not as good a programmer today as you will be 6 months or a year or 2 years from now. Honestly, I think if you were to look at the code you wrote a year ago and not feel a little embarrassed by at least some part of it, that's a problem because it means you haven't been learning as much about how to do things better. I want to start by saying if you're a beginner to Erlang or Elixir or anything really, it's okay if you write bad code. Writing code that is don't make an effort to make bad code, but making code that is less than perfect is okay. The fact that this function is in the wrong module or under the perfect design, this code should be over here and it's really over there. Fine. You can move it later, you can refactor, write tests, do the best you can. But if it's not perfect, don't sweat it. As long as it works, your test pass and dialyzer passes, don't worry if the code isn't theoretically perfect. It won't be. I don't care how good you are. You're going to come back in your code 6 months later and say, oh yeah, that function, this block of code here, it should be, it's in module A, it should be in module B, or should move this module over to a separate application that's dependent. No big deal. If you get that wrong, you can improve it later. Do not let the best be the enemy of the good. It is 100 times better to have code that works, that solves the business problem today versus code that will be totally perfect 10 years from now. A great example of this is when Linux first shipped, was kernel in 1991, Linus Torvalds said, well, this is just temporary until GNU Hurd ships. Well, it's now close to 30 years later, GNU Hurd still hasn't hit 1.0, near as I can tell. If it has, nobody cares. And Linux has taken over the world. Might a computer science professor have said GNU Hurd was a better design back in those days? Yeah, probably. Did that stop anybody from using Linux? Nope. Linux absolutely vital to pretty much everything we do today. Yep. Don't worry about perfect design. Get a good enough design, get it out there, ship the product, solve the problem, and you can always improve it later when you get to it.